Good morning, folks. Continuing on with our soil, today we're going to look at soil conservation. Okay, I'm on page 253 of the Bunnett textbook, and I want you just right beside soil conservation, write down See New Wider World, page 255. So on this page in New Wider World, they talk a bit about soil conservation. What I'm going to do as well is just move my book back here. On the previous page, page 252 in Bunnett, you can add See New Wider World, page 254. Okay, just to speed up and help with your revision when you're coming back to these topics. All right, so let's make a start. Okay, so soil conservation, very simple. Just to recap from yesterday, soil erosion has made millions of hectares. Hectares is a unit of measurement, all right, bigger than acres, of land unproductive. The world's population is increasing, so more food needs to be produced to stop famine and hunger and so on. Let's skip on to the next page. Okay, so top of page 254. Alright, so we need to produce food if famine and disease are to be stopped or eliminated, okay? An adequate balanced diet for everybody. So we need to protect this soil, alright? Now, I know a lot of people think, well, that's somebody else's job, and it usually is. So what we're going to look at today is the conservation means the protection of something. So we're going to look at the methods that countries and farmers have tried to introduce to protect as much soil as we can. Okay, so measures are now being taken to reduce erosion to a minimum. Alright, and there's agencies such as the Food and Agricultural Organization, the FAO. Now there'd be a global organization, and every country would have one of these also. Okay, one of these organizations which then governs or makes rules for each country. Okay, so let's continue. Types of conservation, very simple. First one is contour ploughing. Now we've seen this word contour before, all right, in our map skills. In contour ploughing, so ploughing is when you dig up the field first of all. So you dig up the field to then sow seeds to grow your food, right, and grow your crops. The furrows, now I've written the word areas. Furrows just means the areas. Alright, so you can put that, I know it got a bit smudged. Okay, so the little furrows, so the little channels or areas in which the crops are planted, alright, follow the contours. Now I've drawn an arrow over to here, so what you'll notice is this actually almost looks like a contour map with each of these lines. So what they do is they'll plough in between those, alright, and that when you plough it leaves these kind of ridges, dips and ridges, alright, and what they'll do is they follow the contours so the water will flow steadily through them instead of washing away all the material. Alright, we know contours show a difference in height, so that's what the process is for. The water will flow downhill. So if we plough with the contours, with the slope of the mountain or slope of the hill or the land, then there'll be less erosion. Alright, so on to the next one, terracing, and this can be quite spectacular. I'll show you some pictures of this in a couple of minutes. Terracing, steep slopes, so mountain sides, right, as you can kind of see here. This isn't a very good photo. It can be cut into a series of wide steps on which the crops can then be grown. Right, the steps are called terraces. This is very common in parts of Asia where rice in particular is grown. Alright, so they'll flood the steps, they'll flood the terraces. Come back up on top of our page here. During the growing season, and then the water passes down, it trickles down, it'll come along and then down and along and down and along and down. I'll show you some more pictures of that, but it's a very effective approach. What we have then is planting of shelter belts, okay, or tree lines. So belts of trees are often planted across a flat region which is liable to experience wind erosion. Remember, the two things we said that cause the most soil erosion are water and wind. So if you can try and control them, okay, you can reduce the amount of erosion. Now, the contour ploughing and the terracing, they try to control water. So you could add that little note above contour ploughing and terracing. They both try and control the flow and the speed of the flow of water. Right? This one, shelter belts, tries to stop wind erosion. Okay, so the belts of trees break up the force of the wind and thus protect the strips of land. It's a very simple little concept. Okay, we're going to skip on to the next page and we're almost done. Okay, and just a little bit then on page 255. What we're looking at is the last one is strip cultivation and crop rotation. Now we've seen this crop rotation before, where each year they over 3 or 4 years they'll grow different crops each year, and then maybe one of the years they'll leave one of the fields empty. Okay, strip cultivation then. The alternative strips are right angles to the prevailing wind, right? So that one strip is laid bare for ploughing, the adjacent strip is under grass or growing a crop. So again, it's very simple. They'll plant in strips. I'll show you some pictures of this in a little bit. Okay, what these two actually aim to do is stop the soil losing its nutrients. So they try and even precede the wind and water erosion. They try and ensure that soil has time to recover and doesn't become all weak and dusty and so on. All right, so they try and take turns with the piece of land, leave it empty maybe for a year, plant crop A the next year, then crop B, then crop C, then a year blank, then A, B, C, and so on. Right. Yeah, so it's trying to stop any wind blowing off. If it does occur, and if soil does start to blow away due to wind erosion, and we have these strips, okay, wind blows soil off the bare strip and it'll be caught and anchored by the vegetated strip right next to it. All right, so it's kind of a double protection. I forgot to say just this little, I drew an arrow over from shelter belts. It comes over here. This is a little diagram for our shelter belts. Okay, so you've got your crops planted in between, and then every kilometer or so you plant a big clump of trees like this, so the prevailing wind catches in them and slows down. All right, and it catches all the soil as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to jump on to page 255 of New Wider World. And there's just a small bit, a little bit repetitive, but some more notes or some more highlighting to do. Okay, so on page 255, all right, New Wider World, simple enough little diagram up the top here, and again it just kind of highlights a couple of things that we're talking about to try and conserve and protect. Excuse me. The soil. Okay, so we have afforestation, replanting of trees, very simple. Terracing looks a little bit like this. Okay, and the green, the tops here is where the crops would be planted. Contour ploughing. Okay, so they plough in straight lines here to follow the contours. Hedgerows replanted, trap and catch any soil so it doesn't blow away. We got our strip cultivation going this way. Okay, so you can see the way each strip of land has something else growing in it. All right, so it takes some breaks every year. It's not always growing the same stuff. All right, now again, just like we did in Bunnet, with New Wider World, we were going to write see Bunnet page 253, 255. All right, so we know where the extra notes about conservation are. On the previous page here, up where it says soil erosion in New Wider World, I've written see Bunnet page 251, 253. So now you know where all of your notes are together. Okay. Again, I'm not going to read through too much of this here. It's kind of the same stuff. All right. Various techniques: terracing, replanting trees, contour ploughing, strip cultivation. Okay, so you're going to need to know, especially for your homework. It asks you about ways we can conserve or manage our soil or protect our soils. All right, these three bits I've underlined are the main thing. All right, again, the best protection against soil erosion is to prevent it from being exposed to wind and rain. All right, so you need to make sure that's the problem. They're the cause of erosion. So what can we do to stop or reduce that? All right, these bits I've highlighted here at the top. Sorry, this top bit. All right, down as far as field. That's just the examples again. This last little bit is quite good, okay, because it gives some examples. It talks about India growing certain types of grasses with deep roots to bind the soil together. All right, in Africa, we've got these little stone walls built. So if there is heavy rainfall, they almost act as little dams. As all the water is carrying the soil away, we've got these little stone walls which halt the movement of that soil and water. All right, so there's some good little examples to have down there. Mulching is ideal, using the waste from harvested crops. So it keeps the ground moist. So this mulch, you might have seen like bark mulch and stuff before. People use it in their gardens, but we can use dead or harvested vegetation and just kind of scatter that across to create a little layer of soil. All right, going to make one other quick video about from the PowerPoint and explaining your assignment. All right.